Agency is a fundamental principle of Jewish law. Agency is a concept that one person could appoint someone else to stand in his stead, and the agent could enter into a contract on behalf of the person who sends him, or could affect many different kinds of legal realities. One of the main limitations to the principle of agency is the category of sin. Sin is not something that can be transferred in agency. The principle in the Talmud is ein shliach ledvar aveira. An agent can't affect a sin on behalf of the sender. And what this represents is the fact is that every person is accountable directly to God. And if one person appoints someone else as his agent, whether he's hired or he's just doing a favor or he's told, agency does not affect sin, and the agent is responsible for the sin, and the person who sends the agent has no responsibility for the sin of the other. And the Talmud frames it in this way: Divrei harav v'divrei hatalmud divrei mi shomim. Why would you listen to the person who sent you on this mission if God has already sent you on a mission to do the opposite? The Talmud in tractate Masechet Kedushin demonstrates in the following way: Ha'omer l'shlucho tseva arogat hanefesh hu chayav v'sholchav patur. If a person sends an agent to commit murder, the murderer is responsible, and the sender is not responsible. Shammai hazaken omer mishum Chagai hanavi sholchav chayav. Shammai suggests a different perspective and says that the sender is responsible. That if a person hires a hitman or asks someone to commit murder for him, then the sender is responsible. And the proof for Shammai is Oto haragta becherev b'nei Amon, is a pasuk from Sefer Shmuel. And the story in Shmuel is that David HaMelech, as we know, falls in love immediately at first sight with a woman named Bathsheba. And he wants to have her for his own, but she's married to Uriah. So David sends his general, Yoav, and says, I would like you to put him on the front lines of the battle. Put him in the front of the battle so that he will die. Send Uriah in the middle of the fiercest battle for the express and explicit purpose that he should die. And the general Yoav does this. And in fact, Uriah is killed. In turn, God is extremely angry at the actions of David and sends a Navi to reprove him in chapter 12 of the second Shmuel, and says, Madua bazita devar Hashem la'asod hara be'inai. Why have you despised the word of the Lord, to do evil in his eyes? Es Uriah hachiti kisa becherev. You've murdered Uriah. Vet ishto lakachta l'chalisha. You took his widow as a wife. V'yoto haragta becherev b'nei Amon. And you have murdered him through the sword of Ammon, the nation who was fighting us in the war. Shammai deduces from this pasuk, from this verse, that it was David who's considered to be the one who did the action of murder against Uriah, and not the general Yoav, and not the nation of Ammon, but David is considered to be the murderer. Thus, Shammai proves that there is agency, and the person who sent the agent is the one who's responsible. The view of Shammai is rejected from the halacha, from the Jewish law. However, it is agreed that there is a responsibility towards heaven, that the murderer is the one who did the act of murder, but the one who sent bears responsibility in heaven, in heaven's court. The question is, what do we do with the pasuk that Shammai brought? If Shammai's position is rejected, why is it that David is described as the murderer in the Navi in Sefer Shmuel? It's interesting, if you look at the Radak, in his commentary on Sefer Shmuel, he asks this exact question and raises the principle that we have a generally established principle that ein shliach levar aveira, there's no agency for sin. And the Radak explains that nevertheless, David is considered to be the murderer because here it's different, because here the king commanded him to, Uriah was commanded by the king to put Uriah on the front lines. And since he was commanded, and there's possibly a capital punishment for rebelling against the king and defying his orders. Therefore, this case is different, and the sender bears responsibility because the agent had no choice but to listen to the instructions of the sender. The Radak concludes and says that he's not really allowed to do this, that Yoav should have defied the orders of the king and not put Uriah in the path of death. He should have defied the king. But since it's so difficult to defy the king, and it's not something we can expect of the average person, therefore, Yoav was not responsible for listening to David, and David is attributed with the full sin. Thus, in conclusion, the Talmud places the main responsibility for sin on the person who does the action and not the sender, but in some limited cases, when it's very, very difficult to defy the orders, when the orders are very severe and carry severe punishments, the sender is responsible, and the agent could claim he was a mere pawn in the grander scheme.